If your ecom brand does $2 million to $100 million and you use the words made in USA anywhere in your marketing, the FTC just laid a trap that could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Keep watching to understand what this actually means and what you should be doing right now. I'm Mario Simonian, founder of Esco, and before becoming an attorney, I built and sold two seven-figure Amazon brands. Now, my law firm helps brands protect their IP online and regain control from copycats, infringers, and unauthorized sellers. So, about last year, President Trump issues an executive order to really clamp down on brands that are using made in USA claims. And as a result of that, in July of 2025, the FTC sent warning letters to a few major brands and cautioned platforms like Amazon and Walmart regarding third party sellers using deceptive labels. Now, from July 2025, let's fast forward to April. In April of 2026, this year, the FTC announced that it's going after three brands. And the three brands are TouchTunes, Oak Street Bootmakers, and American Liberty Three Nations LLC, which is my favorite example. So what happened with these cases? With respect to TouchTunes, TouchTunes made unqualified claims on their marketing and said made in the USA. These are claims used on electronic dartboards, despite the brand sourcing key components like screens and chips from overseas. So they got hit with a penalty and agreed to pay $625,000. This was the largest monetary recovery under the Made in USA labeling rule for this year. The second case, again, same month, April 2026, FTC goes after Oak Street Bootmakers, again, for using made in USA claims. Violation, they were marketing footwear as 100% in the USA while importing uppers and outsoles from Dominican Republic and Brazil. FTC fined them $75,000 after failing to comply with a previous FTC warning. The third example, my favorite, American Liberty. They make American flags and they advertise their flags as 100% American made and built by Americans, while the products itself were actually imported from China. Their penalty that they received was not a penalty, but they settled for $167,000 and they must notify their customers about this deceptive claim. So, what are the key takeaways from these three cases that I just mentioned? Number one, final assembly is not enough. These cases reinforce that finishing a product here in the United States does not permit a brand to use made in USA claim, especially if critical components of the product are foreign. Number two, digital marketing focus. Most of the brands that we represent have a significant presence on marketplaces. And the FTC is actively monitoring website copy, social media, online ads, even as we mentioned earlier, online marketplaces to ensure that brands are compliant with this policy. Third, if you receive a warning letter, please take it seriously. Ignoring FTC warning letters directly led to lawsuits in some of these examples that I mentioned above. So, the Trump administration issued an executive order declaring that American businesses are entitled to the quote unquote undiluted branding benefits of domestic manufacturing. The directive specifically instructed the FTC to clamp down on foreign manufacturers and domestic e commerce brands utilizing misleading origin claims to appeal to patriotic consumers. The sweeping April 2026 law enforcement actions against those companies are a direct result of Trump's executive order. The FTC has shifted its attention to marketplaces like Amazon and Walmart. So they've put crosshairs from individual small brands and shifted it to major e commerce infrastructures. Following the formal warning letters sent to Amazon and Walmart, FTC actively considered rules that hold digital marketplaces legally liable if they fail to verify seller origin claims. Think of that as FTC shifting the burden from their own monitoring and from consumers reporting to now holding the marketplaces responsible for reporting sellers that make deceptive claims. So, what does this mean? Amazon and Walmart could obviously face a large regulatory risk. What we'll see them doing in the near future, if this hasn't started already, is suspending third party sellers that use unqualified domestic claims. essentially made in USA claims. So what this means for brands is, number one, if you are using made in USA claims and they may not be completely accurate based on the standard that the FTC has laid out, then you guys need to make changes to the business. Otherwise, you guys are going to be facing fines from the FTC, add on attorney fees, and also, probably more important, is loss of reputation for your brand in the marketplace. That could probably hurt you the most. That's why the flag company was my favorite example, because they were producing flags, American flags, and saying made in USA or proudly made in the USA, and they were just importing them from China. So imagine what that does to the brand's reputation, to the brand's equity, or I should say the brand's enterprise value. So if you think that everything that you have right now, all of your products are completely compliant with the FTC policy, then fine. But I would maybe push back and say, when was the last time you did audit all of your marketing material? Maybe even going back to your historic social media posts, anything on your website. So I would suggest have your team conduct an audit, because receiving that letter from the FTC and getting a fine is not going to be very fun. And as I mentioned, it could potentially also harm your brand's reputation. Here's what you should be doing. The FTC has bots that are scraping your websites, your social media posts. So what you should be doing right now is taking a look at all of your hero image badges. Do you have any American flag icons, eagle graphics, or USA stamps from product imagery or on your products? Remove them unless the product is 100% domestic. Also, look at your website metadata, any tags. Check for hidden SEO, alt data, or alt text, product tags, anything that appears on your website, you should go ahead and audit. Historic social media and ads, as I mentioned earlier. Delete or archive those old Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook ad creatives that boast about domestic origins if the supply chain has since shifted overseas. And then marketplace bullet points. Review your Amazon A+ content and Walmart product detail page, as these platforms are under direct regulatory pressure to flag violations and report them to the FTC. Now, something else I could tell you is, if you're not auditing your own listings and your own marketing, I promise you your competitors will be auditing your own websites and maybe even reporting them to the FTC, if not the marketplace. Take a look at your supply chain cost allocation. FTC uses a strict financial threshold to determine if a product is all or virtually all domestic. The finance and sourcing teams must calculate the exact cost breakdown. So the component cost ratio, make sure you guys know that. If you guys need to get supplier certification, don't just rely on email assurances from suppliers. Make sure you guys secure formally, legally binding country of origin certificates from every vendor in tier 1 or tier 2 supply chain. The assembly trap, this is something you guys should be aware of. Identify products where final assembly occurs in the USA, but the raw materials or core components are imported. Those instances must be immediately flagged for marketing rewrites. Take a look at your language that you're using and maybe consider downgrading the language. What do I mean by that? Brands do not need to abandon their entire domestic marketing entirely, right? But they must prioritize transitioning from risky unqualified claims to safe qualified claims. So here's a few examples. If you guys were using made in the USA, that's probably risky wording if it's not completely accurate. So maybe consider something like assembled in the USA, assuming that the final substantial transformation of the product happens here in the US. If you guys are using 100% American quality, ensure that that's completely accurate. Or maybe replace that with made in the USA with imported parts. Those are examples that you should be looking at. And obviously ensure that your marketing department is involved in these conversations and in these meetings. Once your brand is audited and any necessary changes or updates are made, some of our clients are asking us to audit their competitors' listings and marketing to ensure everyone is playing on a fair playing field. If you're interested in seeing how much market share you can absorb on Amazon and Walmart, click the link below for a free brand enforcement audit.